I think the number one challenge is the same as it is in the not-for-profit sector as it is for the profit sector, and that is governance and getting that model right between the board and management.
I think the biggest challenge that boards are facing is that there's a large degree of unknown. They know things are changing, but they're not quite sure how that's going to look. And so it's that ability to move with the changes at a pace to keep up with them. And I think because things are changing so rapidly, they need to be thinking ahead of the game rather than behind the game, and that requires a different way of thinking. A lot of it's not rocket science, but they've just got to be prepared to think differently to get those different solutions.
I think the sector actually doesn't know what it is. We're going through massive reform, and we really need to be positioning ourselves to govern the community about what we as civil society really are. The pace of reform is scaring a lot of people, but we need to embrace it and respond very positively with our contribution to the community. I would say to board members and CEOs at the moment, don't be dominated by risk. Everyone's concerned about risk at the moment, rightly so, but the balance to that is responsibility and reward. We've got to look at the total equation. People are not valuing innovation sufficiently in this time of change. We're being very conservative and risk averse at a time when we really need to celebrate what our sector is about, which is dynamic problem solving. So how can we do that? By questioning, by having dialogue, by getting together at conferences such as this, for example.
The challenge is keeping things simple in business anyway. So with governance, you need a very good process of appointment of the board, and you need a comfort around the fact that they have a skill set that's going to allow the board to achieve its goals in the organisation to do that. To have open conversations between management and the board, and making sure that all staff feel that at any time they can raise issues of concern and have an open, transparent, conversational environment. That's your best bet to have a model of governance that's going to work.
I think the best thing they can do is keep communicating with each other, with the CEO, with other boards, and just keep having conversations. That it's very easy to get caught up in your own silo of, well, this is how we're going to deal with it, and not look at other options. And I think collectively as a sector, boards need to realise that they're not in competition with each other. It feels like it appears, when you're going for the same funding and all of that sort of thing. But ultimately we want the same end result in the community. And if we can let go of some of that competition, I think everyone will come up with a better solution, rather than fighting for their piece of the pie all the way along.
A great ingredient in everything in life, whether it be governance or anything else, is people having the freedom to innovate. So when you have a transparent model where people can talk about the good things and the not so good things, but also opportunities for them to bring up ideas. So whether that be the most junior person in the organisation or the most senior, but ultimately knowing that the CEO and the board are open-minded to the manner with which conversations take place, and if there are constructive criticisms, that they be allowed to be aired so that the organisation can move in a really positive direction.
Governance and leadership in non-for-profit organisations is about partnership. The days of the imperial CEO are long dead. The days of the master-servant relationship between board and CEO are long dead. Unfortunately, some people have not caught up with that yet. It is about a mutual respect, working together, having robust, open, transparent dialogue that's not about gotcha, but is about dynamic problem solving. That's what we need to do.
Certainly in New Zealand, I'd say come to our website, which is www.exult.co.nz, EXULT. And we have a lot of templates and examples and case studies on there that you can just download and use. We've also got links to lots of other websites, mostly New Zealand based, where you can find information around that. In New Zealand also, given I'm a Kiwi, there's a great website called CommunityNet, and it's just community.net.nz. And they have a whole lot of how-to guides, and they're always up to date with legislation, and it sort of helps you keep ahead of the game. So those would be the two websites I'd send people to.
Look, I think there's a huge variety of resources out there. There's books, there's groups, but really I'd say the two key resources are other boards and other CEOs. Share experience, get together. There's no one right way, there's no one right answer, but there's massive experience out there. We ought to share it with one another rather than keeping it close to our chest. That's my biggest resource, are my colleagues.
I'm probably going to fly in the face of tradition here and say I won't recommend one resource other than fantastic and open conversations between board members with themselves, board and management, and the staff of the organisation. I always like to see board members have some time with conversations with staff with a comfort. And so if you go out as a board member to represent your organisation, it's the conversations you have outside your business and look at other organisations, get good ideas, share them. They're the ways you learn, in my view, rather than pick a particular resource. It's about getting out, talking to people about your experience, your business, listening to others, and sharing ideas and collaborating on opinions.